Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Farmer Tan podcast. As usual, I am Jake in the 308, joined on the south side of the table by your co-host, Jared Aiden. Jared, what's going on today?
Oh, man, just backgrounding some calves, catching up on everything after harvest. Just it's been nice to finally get some of those things done that you've been thinking about in the truck and the tractor that aren't getting done, and finally getting some of those loose ends tied up. So that's been good.
Yeah, for sure. As you may know, if you listen to us on Spotify, we put up a poll after the last episode. If you did not know that, you can go back and check that poll. It'll be up for the full month. But we asked the question, what would you like more of on the podcast? And an overwhelming percentage of the two of you that voted said you would like special guests. And so we have a special treat for you this evening on the Farmer Tan podcast.
One of the two votes.
Yeah, and I voted too, so maybe we were the only ones that voted. So anyway, but tonight we have a longtime caller, first-time listener to the show, a friend of the show, but also a friend of myself personally, a friend of Jared, and the Supreme Commander at Anderson Ag Services.
Yes, sir.
We would like you to welcome Garth Anderson to the show. Garth, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. You guys, thanks for having me. This will be fun.
It'll be something.
Yeah, it will be. I've got opinions on just about everything, but nobody's really ever cared to hear them.
Oh,
so
well, we'll turn them loose.
We don't charge for them. So.
We got lots of topics.
Yeah, we'll turn them loose tonight for sure. Before we get into it really deep, this episode we are proud to have nobody from the cell phone industry sponsoring this.
Nope.
You know, you think 5G sounds pretty snappy, like, boy, that's a lot of Gs. But as far as I'm concerned, take your 5G plus and scrub the bathroom floor with it, because I had better service on a two-handed brick Motorola fold-down mic. This is garbage, okay? I spent most of the week out of cell phone service, and even when I was in service,
barely. Yeah.
I got no love for that.
Yeah.
The maps on their commercials show everything's red. You ever notice that?
Yes.
I mean,
it's
not. Nope.
It's
they
not.
gave up on the G's and went to LTE, whatever that means. So
yeah, when the bag phones were the thing,
yep,
you could call out of some of the nastiest places just fine.
Magnetic antenna, you'd put it on the top of your
that's right.
Yeah.
I remember them.
I have
vehicles were magnetic.
Yeah.
That's true.
When you could, a magnet would
just
work.
Slide right off.
Yeah. You get something that's blue oval or anything that's RAM, and isn't most of that stuff aluminum now?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think you could even.
Plastic.
Yeah, or plastic.
Yeah.
I mean, aluminum in theory is good because then it won't rust out, but
well,
I guess it could still corrode away.
It tears pretty easy from what I've seen.
Yeah, it tears down the road. All right, so we are in the great state of Nebraska, which means we measure our rain in hundredths, not tenths. Garth, what'd you have for rain, man?
You know what? I am going to confess, I did not have a gauge out the entire year. Because
didn't matter anyway.
You know what? we getting rain in the spring, and I was always going to put it up. I take them down in the winter so they don't freeze.
Right.
And I thought, you know what? If it's raining, I'm not even going to put it up.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm going to leave it.
Yeah. Don't put the Lord your God to the test, right?
No, I know it. I'm not. I thought it doesn't matter. We're getting enough, and it's good, and I haven't even put one up.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
Well, that killed that conversation.
Yeah, well, that's
so I don't know.
It's been good having Garth on. So.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, join us next week when we talk about Christmas shopping.
Yeah,
Jared, what'd you get for rain?
Oh, I got about 1.60 inches.
Yeah, so that 1 6/10 for our Eastern listeners.
That's right.
Yeah, so that is good. So I'm a little bit like Garth. I don't currently have a rain gauge in operation, but my neighbor, I texted him and said, "What'd we get for rain?" And he said 1 inch-ish. So
ish, yep.
So like the guys asked what yield, and I don't have a yield monitor in my combine. It's just
yeah. Well, I was
going to talk.
I'll be
a temperature gauge. I mean,
I was going to be honest. I was going to go about 10 hundredths over whatever you said, but 1.60 inch sounds like a bit of a stretch already. So I'm just
nobody'd believe you anyway.
Just a few flies and spiders is all. So.
Yeah, a June bug that'd been in there a while. So, but yeah, you know what? We spent most of Friday and Saturday raining, and so we did get a good rain here. Needed it really badly.
Every drop.
Yep. Needed it really bad. And it came slow and multiple showers, and it has been so long since that's happened. It felt good.
I was kind of joking with some people that I've been waiting to get some background calves in for a while, and it's just been perfect feed wagon weather. And as soon as I finally get some in and start feeding, we just get the most greasiest, sloppiest days we've had in months.
Yeah, you really should have got them in the 1st of August.
I was trying.
Everybody's beans would have done better.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, that is good. We are certainly thankful for that. Jared, harvest all buttoned up.
Finally.
I know you said you were done, but got custom work done too.
Yes, got some custom acres out, and I mean, we started harvest like a herd of turtles, and we limped across the finish line. The middle went really well, but oh my goodness, we had about 100 acres. It took us a week and a half.
Yeah. Now explain this to me, right? So any kind of farm machinery, any operation that takes a duration, right? Whether it's planting, maybe haying or harvest or whatever. You get it out in the spring and you are just thinking to yourself like, oh man, we're ready to go. You know, you run it through the shop. This thing's ready.
You spend all winter getting ready.
This thing is ready. And so you take it to the field and there's maybe some bugs, but you get it up and rolling and it's good. If you park that longer than overnight, it is like starting all over again. I mean, for real, you get a 3-day rain event,
Yep.
You go back to the field, nothing works. This monitor doesn't work. That wire's shorted out. Suddenly the clutch won't kick in. Like, what is going on? How does that happen?
Things go to pot faster if you don't use them.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use it every day, all day long, and I think, I don't know.
Yeah.
They work.
And then you're on that last 100 acres and you just keep turning up the radio louder and louder because you're like, I don't hear that squeak.
Yeah, it's good bearing grease there.
Oh, man. And you're in there going, come on, baby. You only got 100 more acres. You can do it.
See how much longer that light can blink. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of lights, you know, a fun topic. I'll ask you before we go into it. Which side of the fuel gauge do you fall on? If you cross half, is that suddenly a cause for concern, or are you good down to the last
well,
drop?
it's funny that you should even ask that question because I pushed it to the very edge of destruction here about 3 or 4 days ago. I was back home and took my wife's pickup to a funeral back home, and I thought, boy, I need to get gas, and it's a 120-mile trip up there, about 2 hours. And I thought, well, I'll make it up. I'm from Greeley, so I'll make it up there. And then went to the funeral and got done and started heading home. And I was halfway between Greeley and Broken Bow, and I thought, I did not get gas yet.
Lots of gas stations there.
Well, you get to Westerville, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, the only thing there is a sign that says "Welcome to Westerville."
no, it's not even that. And I look down at my gas gauge, and it says I've got like 40 miles left.
Oh, no problem.
And I'm like, oh, that's no problem.
You can kick that into Broken Bow.
Well, I know it.
Yeah.
I can make it home. You know?
Right.
And so as I go, you know, I turn and you go a mile north, and then you turn and you go back west to come into Broken Bow.
Yeah.
And I literally drove like 3 miles, and it just says low fuel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you're out. And I'm thinking, wow.
That
I'm
escalated
going to
quickly.
call my wife and ask her if she wants to go eat at Kincaid's, and can you bring me up a gallon of gas? And I coasted into town. I mean, so I do know that it's a Chevy pickup, and when the fuel range goes out, you can drive at least 18 more miles.
See, he's one of me. We understand each other.
I thought, if I run out of gas, I'm just going to park it and walk home, because I'm not going to call my wife.
I was just going to ask you, be honest about this. You just ran it low just to get back at Maria, didn't you? Just for leaving the...
You know what? I had to literally coast, and I stopped at Pump and Pantry. That was the first gas station you could come to in Broken Bow, and I put some gas in there to get me home and get her to work the next morning.
Yeah.
And
may or may not be your first choice, but it was your first choice.
It was the only choice. I don't know if I could have made it to halfway through town.
Down to Casey's.
Casey's
So I know that this, and if you're a listener to the show, you know that this gives Jared anxiety just talking about it. And
I think I'm just flushing red right now.
So I snapped a picture. I was delivering out to Stapleton the other day, And it was about, I don't know what, 2 ticks probably off, empty, or 3 maybe.
You were flirting with that
And,
red range on the fuel gauge.
So I took a picture and sent it to him, said, headed home. And
Stapleton's an hour away.
yeah, but it's downhill.
So Jared's a half full kind of guy.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that what he's-
He said when he gets to a quarter, he gets nervous. So
Yeah, I start paying attention more to the fuel gauge than I do the speedometer at that point.
yeah. Now, I will say, apparently, so my wife, we have talked about this as well, but my wife thinks a lot like Jared in different situations. And apparently I drove 2 different pickups to work this week at various points in the week. And I must have drove them both home without gas in them. And I sort of got reprimanded for that
Well, you should.
today. She said she did not maybe appreciate that.
Well, that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier with Garth. It seems like kind of usually they get in the family car and it's sitting on a quarter tank, and I'm like, well, I don't have time.
Oh, you kind of got to know how far you can go. I mean, you
That's
kind of,
yes.
you know, you kind of got, I mean, I went from 40 miles of range to nothing in a matter of three miles. So you got to test the accuracy of that
Yeah.
a little
Or
bit.
Just
you know.
don't and always know you have enough to get where you're going.
Well,
If I see someone on the side of the road with running out of gas, the first thing I'm going to ask him is like, well, how often do you try to push the E button on the fuel gauge?
Yeah. I mean, it'll be fine. You got to live on the edge.
That's
every once in a while.
That's the slogan for all of you. Same thing as procrastinators unite tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, so
Or
we
maybe
won't-
the next day.
if you run out of gas, we won't call Jared. I
No,
mean,
because he'll just chastise us. For,
Yeah, I was going to come give you a good lecture.
yeah.
you're gonna have to sit and listen to Jared's lecture before he gives you the gas can.
Yeah. Keep your gallon of gas and your speech. All right.
Yeah.
I don't need this hate from you right now. I need gas,
I was going to
man.
say, you should just start walking. I'll just coast alongside you. Keep talking to you. So where are you going to go? You can't run away. I've got a full tank of gas. We can do this all day and all week.
How far do you want to walk?
That's right.
Oh,
Just try getting away from this lecture.
yeah, oh, man. I tell you, it's something. So, yeah, you know,
I did not tell my wife that story either, so I probably will not tell her to listen to this podcast.
we can edit it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Or we could send her the link.
Yeah. Live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
she is
so,
now.
yeah. Oh, and she looks angry. Yeah. On our side of things, we were actually set to wean calves
That's right.
whatever day, Saturday, I guess. Had Jared lined up and some other help. We were gonna wean some calves, looked at the forecast and went like, we made it this far.
Yep.
I don't think we're going to do it now. So that is scheduled for Friday, which looks like the rest of the week's supposed to be pretty good. So we'll get some calves weaned and get them home. Preg checking cows on Monday. So, by this time next week, we ought to be fairly dialed in on that.
Cruise control.
Yeah, as much as, feed wagon control at that
Yeah.
point. But yeah, how about you, Garth? What's going on at your
Yeah,
place?
about the same. Got calves weaned, probably mid-October-ish time frame. I mean, we seemed like we'd gotten a little squirt of rain there and enough to kind of mat the dust and get them weaned and preg the cows. Usually I'm an early weaner. Usually, I mean, I'm into September and kind of get them background and get them going, but I've been a month behind all year this year, it seems like. So, why quit, I guess.
Yeah.
But really got along good weaning. Just, my calves don't stress a lot because the cows are kind of right there. I mean, everything's kind of there and getting them going, and preg went pretty well. I mean, so
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
waiting to get, like Jared, get some more in, getting some calves bought. And
Yeah.
so,
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's kind of the season. On one hand, it sort of seems late, but I don't know why, because it's really not. I mean, around here, guys do wean earlier than other guys. Other guys, this is about this is.
oh yeah, there's a lot of calves.
Yeah, this
This
is
coming.
past couple years have kind of been early for everybody, sped up everybody's clock. So it's kind of been a 2-year run of early, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. We talked about that the other day, but we were kind of stuck in that wean because you have to,
Right.
Yeah.
for a couple of years because
Yeah.
of the drought. So, yeah, it's really not terribly late, I guess. So yeah, we kind of got that going on, which means we need to get the feed wagon fired up and get the hay pile ground and kind of get ready to go on that stuff ourselves.
Start
And-
the duration.
yeah. Yeah, which, and speaking of early weaning, and I was trying to think, it was probably 2 or 3 years ago, whenever it was last that we were pretty super dry. And I think we brought calves home like the end of August.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
happened.
oh man, I think I fed them forever.
Yeah.
It felt like. And so it has been nice that we have not had to do that yet here, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. You want to go, where do you want to go? BSB?
Yeah, we can start with one of those.
Or do we want to jump into what?
I don't know what BSB is, so
Oh man.
I can't help you there. But
All right.
So BSB is kind of that's a segment we do. It's you pick 3 topics. You've got to buy one, you got to sell one, you got to burn one to the ground. So
Yeah.
it's kind of just a comparative list, and
Yeah.
there's kind of how I do it, and then there's how Jake does it, or as also known as the wrong way.
and then I get to tell you who's right and who's wrong.
Well, we might make you go
Yeah.
first.
No, you have
Oh.
to have your own opinion.
Well, I said at the beginning, I got an opinion on about everything.
So we were talking beforehand. This may be the last episode we do before Thanksgiving. And Jake and I kind of talked about this before once at Bible study. So it was a pretty spirited conversation. So I'm going to bring it up for you. So Thanksgiving foods, buy one, sell one, burn one to the ground. You've got yams, green bean casserole, and pumpkin pie.
And you can go if you want, or if you want us to go around so you see how it's done. But if you got an opinion, let her rip.
I'm not a yam guy.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
I can remember I was a kid and had to try them one time, and I could not. I'd starve to death. That's all we had to eat.
Do they taste better if we call them sweet potatoes?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. In fact, our daughter found out that she likes sweet potato fries.
Oh, yeah?
And,
Those are disgusting.
No.
She's 22 vet school, so I mean, she can form her own opinions. And we went out one time when we was down there with her and ate, and she got them sweet potato fries. I just about had to move tables.
Oh,
I mean,
come on.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't
There's
even.
not enough ketchup to make those things.
You
edible,
can't
are
make
That's your
them
problem.
taste-
You don't put ketchup on
there? You
them.
got to do something to.
Ugh.
I mean, they're all like that burnt end of a potato, and regular French fries are all that shriveled up hard.
They're just.
on the first
I can't
place.
do the taste. I just.
Terrible.
ugh.
Yeah.
Did they have like the marshmallow
Yes.
cinnamon dipper stuff?
And I was a little kid, and I thought, boy, them look good. And
Yeah.
I took them, and
Not even marshmallows and brown sugar.
you
could bring them
couldn't
things
couldn't make them taste good, in my
See,
opinion.
I expect this out of somebody that gets nervous after a half tank of gas, but Garth, I expect better than
No,
you.
I couldn't do it.
I
No.
just,
So that's his burn to the ground. So then
Apparently.
pumpkin pie.
yeah.
We'll just make that assumption.
Yeah.
gonna go out.
Between
that's-
pumpkin
that's
pie
that
and
one.
green bean casserole.
I'll do the cast. I like the green bean stuff
Yeah.
with the onions on top.
Oh,
I
the
mean,
more
you can't
onions, the better.
you can't put enough onions on
I'll
there.
tell you what. Exactly.
That
You
is,
know, you got to buy 2 cans of them things because I'll just sit and eat one with my
no.
hand and
Love
pour. And a pumpkin
like
pie,
this
I
guy.
can do that. But if you put enough Cool Whip on it and stuff, I can get a pumpkin pie down.
okay. And I do not say this lightly. Those crispy onion things are vile.
How did you
Terrible.
guys even get together to do this? This table is not that big.
It's what keeps
I'm
it
just
interesting.
enjoying that there's another sane person in here.
No,
Jeez.
man, you're both. No. All right. So,
That's woo.
I agree with you on the sell the pumpkin pie. That is kind of where I'm at. Like, I'll eat it if I have to. I don't particularly enjoy it. You put Cool Whip on it, it's okay.
Cool Whip can cover up a lot if you get enough on
Yeah.
Not sweet potatoes.
it, but not sweet potatoes. I mean,
I am absolutely.
You like 'em?
Yes. I'll eat them on purpose.
are you serious?
Yeah, for real. Yep. I like sweet potato casserole.
He even has
that,
he even
you
has
know,
his own recipe.
that doesn't
yams that he brings.
surprise me.
I
though.
do.
Yeah, he brings them.
Yeah.
He's the one that brings them.
I'll say the same thing that everybody says about meatloaf. Oh, you don't like them because you've never had mine.
Oh, I don't like them. Anybody's.
Well, that's what I say about meatloaf, but people won't believe me, and they make me try it anyway.
Jeez.
Sweet potato souffle, fantastic.
Souffle.
Sweet
Put it
potato,
in whatever language you want. They're still terrible.
Nope, you can't.
sweet potato fries, sweet potato chips. It's all just
Lipstick on a
All right,
pig,
sweet
man.
potato Bubba.
Just-
wrap it up here.
Potatoes and shrimp.
Bake it, broil it, saute it.
Yeah, just bake it in the oven, split it open, butter, brown sugar.
golly.
You betcha.
I
So that's absolutely green bean casserole. I strongly dislike it without the crunchy onions, and then you put them on, and I straight up hate it. It is terrible, terrible, terrible. That is no good.
I'm gonna have to find a new feed store.
That's good. There's no reasoning with some people.
No,
are there?
I
Yuck.
Jeez.
Hey,
You think you know a guy?
I don't think it's right.
and while we're talking about things that are terrible,
No,
strawberry
here we go.
pretzel salad stuff,
I
also
would,
terrible.
I'm not. I don't like the.
I
pretzels.
would go with you on that.
Yeah.
I
There we
can
go. There's
eat it a little.
ground.
I mean, but
Like you see it hiding on the dessert table or the salad.
and it's never gone, is it?
No. You know why? Because it's terrible.
I mean, there's always a little bit gone. I mean, a piece or two, but you never see an empty dish of that stuff.
That is a fact.
That's just people. I don't want to make the people feel
I know.
bad.
Somebody brought this, so I'll just take a
I was
piece
gonna
so
say
they don't
that's-
hurt their
yeah,
feelings.
That's the whole face down in the
Yeah.
trash can with the paper plate. For
Yeah.
yeah.
and you're trying to look at it from over here, and you're like, oh, I
It's
thought
strawberry
maybe-
and Jello. What could they do to make this bet?
Like I thought at first that was cherry cheesecake, but it's not.
No.
That is.
Imagine my disappointment.
But, all right, so where do you come out then? I think I already
right
kinda
with
know.
right with Garth. Pumpkin pie and green bean casserole are tough, but I could eat green bean
to
casserole.
swallow. Yes.
I could eat green bean casserole year round.
Ugh.
I think I do get tired of pumpkin pie by the time Thanksgiving and Christmas are done. I'm like, I'm okay with that being seasonal. For that reason, I'm buying green bean casserole, 2 cans of crunchy onions, more if you can fit them.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Then pumpkin
You
pie, and yeah, definitely. I mean, burning yams twice over.
Mhm. Double baked. What is good though, honestly, about green beans and what is it, like cream of mushroom soup?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yuck.
you don't know what you're missing.
No.
Yuck. That's terrible.
They could bring, they start Christmas at Labor Day now. I mean,
Yeah.
You notice that?
That's
Yeah.
no joke.
Yeah.
and they bring out the Christmas stuff and the pumpkin spice everything and this and that, and man, that's what needs to be addressed. That's
Agreed.
we need to. You shouldn't be able to do any Christmas at least until 2 weeks before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, Halloween's not even.
yeah.
Thanksgiving's great, and I just feel bad for it. I think Thanksgiving's the
Yeah.
middle child of holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you can't wait to get done with Thanksgiving so you can have Black Friday. Like
Oh.
they don't even, it doesn't even get its own day
Nope.
because then they start Black Friday at like 3:30 in the afternoon.
Well, I've seen now that Black Friday sales starting this week. Like Walmart started this week.
Why?
I'm like, you can't even call it a Black Friday. dude.
No, now
No.
it's like a black 10 days before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, like on the pumpkin spice, I'm okay with it as a smell.
Ugh.
Like if you had a pumpkin spice candle or whatever is okay-ish, but as a taste, yuck.
I did try pumpkin spice latte.
And you
This-
hated it,
this-
didn't you?
Unfortunately, I liked it.
What?
Ooh.
But I put an extra shot of espresso with it, and it needs that. Or
And
otherwise
and
it's
some
too
fried
sweet.
onions.
Yeah, some fried onions.
And some summer sausage.
Oh, no. Golly. Summer sausage taste never leaves your mouth either. That is,
I bet pumpkin spice would chase it out of there.
I don't even know. I don't
The only shot it needs is with a 12 gauge. It is terrible. You and my
Yeah.
brother, though, he's the same way. He can't wait. He thinks pumpkin spice is the greatest thing since a pocket
This
on
is
a
the
shirt.
first time I ever tried it. I hear all the buzz about it. I mean, lots of people get excited about it, and I had to see what it was all about.
So
But
what?
I had to get a coupon before I tried it first.
Well, being fiscally
I'm not paying full price for that.
no.
being fiscally
That's
responsible.
exactly right.
If there's one thing we appreciate on the Farmer Tan podcast, it's being mindful of our money. But
Not physically responsible. But
no, although I'm curious, what size of Uggs do you wear then?
fiscally. That's. I don't even come back to that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, you heard. All right, so is this the
They
thanks?
go great with my skinny jeans.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh man.
All right. Well, is this our Thanksgiving spectacular? Is that
Sure.
what we're dubbing the title of this one?
All right.
Okay, so just real quick, while we're I guess, boring everybody to death with what kind of food we like. But where do we come out on, like, are we pro stuffing?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
I'm afraid to answer that.
I'm throwing down the gauntlet on this deal.
I think you're on the wrong side of the fence again here. You
I
lead us
like
off
it.
then.
Oh, yeah. See?
man.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
up?
I'm
You're both on the wrong side of the fence.
No. Are you gravy on stuffing or just stuffing?
well,
Like,
you put gravy on everything.
all
Don't
right.
you?
Yeah, I'm good either way.
Well,
I
you'd
mean-
have to. I mean,
Yeah. I like to mix my corn with my potatoes too.
that is good. That is good.
You know, I don't do it intentionally, but if they get together, I'm okay
Yeah.
with it.
I will intentionally do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Chicken Sundays, hot beef Sundays.
Oh, I do like hot
Oh,
beef
yeah.
Sundays. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you, let's say, and maybe nobody else's family does this, but our family will have like ham and turkey. Are you taking the ham and just sort of taking a little turkey to feel festive, or do you purposely get turkey, or?
Trying to think what we had last year.
I'll take some turkey just to be festive.
Yeah.
Only if there's gravy there to put some moisture back to it. But I'm definitely filling up on ham.
Yeah.
I'm not going back for
Yeah.
seconds for turkey.
Now, and I
I
don't,
can do a little bit, but not.
I don't specifically dislike turkey, but if ham is an option, like,
And prime rib can push every tradition out of the way.
I was just thinking. I thought for some reason we had prime rib, but maybe that was Christmas. I don't know.
Say,
But I thought it was Thanksgiving.
Christmas, Easter.
well,
There's traditional meats,
Yeah.
but if someone brings prime rib, that trumps everything.
you know, just, well, I mean, we got to be a little careful here. We are pretty pro beef,
Yeah.
Slightly.
but we like pork.
Yeah, we do.
Oh yeah.
And we like fowl a little bit,
Yeah.
but you know, so don't get all twisted up. But if you want to bring beef tenderloin,
I noticed you didn't even mention lamb.
Fried chicken. I mean,
oh yeah,
I mean, I'd
I'm down.
Sunday after church fried chicken. I
Yeah.
mean, man, alive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I did not bring up lamb because I'm fairly certain I'm on the wrong side of the fence on that one as well, because I really like it. Like really good lamb.
Oh, it's
I am a big
decade
fan.
since I've had it, so I shouldn't say.
I don't know that I've ever had it.
Well, it's biblical, so you guys probably ought to brush up, but
I'm
A lot of Old Testament stuff I'm not interested in.
unleavened bread and all that stuff.
I don't think I've ever had lamb.
Make an unleavened lamb sandwich.
Well, like they boiled some of the lamb. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, that's maybe. So I have no idea what the name of the place is, but it's the place in Cozad, like when you get off the overpass and you go north into town, and it's right off the like northwest side of that main intersection across like from Sonny's, from the grocery store there. It's just a house
Oh, really?
that they turned into a restaurant.
Oh, is that like the 401 or 407 or something?
Well,
something.
I think it used to be the 242 house, but I think it's under new ownership
New.
and management. Anyway, we were there. Whatever this place is, like they make some phenomenal lamb. Like
Really?
yeah, it was so good. If you're gonna try it, go try it there,
Hmm.
because bad lamb will make you like bad lamb tastes like wet wool.
Never had that either.
Well, it's not good. It's not good. And but this place in Cozad,
Does it taste like yams?
you know, a fair amount better, actually. Okay, fine. If that's how you guys are going to be, we're going to.
Oh,
talk,
I'd try it. I'd try anything once. I just don't think I've ever had it.
we'll talk about commodities then.
I'm
If,
just gonna be like, I don't know what you guys like about stuffing. We kind of glazed over that, but
well, it's fantastic.
I mean,
I do too.
don't you just grind up a cedar tree branch with some bread that fell in the sink, and that's kind of how you make?
Well, you have a pretty hateful attitude towards a staple. Like people did not sail across the ocean in wooden ships for you to badmouth the stuffing they brought. Okay, like
yeah, that they made in England.
yeah,
Ate in the US.
yeah, and it was good, and they were thankful
seawater
for it.
sloshed
They were
all
glad
over
to
the
have
loaves
it.
of bread with the pine shavings they were sleeping on.
Oh
They
man,
was like, ah.
boy, this guy.
They're like, oh man, the Indians brought such a great meal to this potluck, and all we have is this spoiled bread. Let's just put a name on it.
I'm gonna mute your mic if you keep being that way.
All right, yeah, we can get to commodities, but I just had to let that little bit of hatred out.
Boy, I
Or to eat me
guess.
alive.
Gee whiz.
You'll be ready for the holidays now.
Yeah.
Got my fight inside on.
You know, I'm going to be honest with you. If we ever get invited over to your house again, I'm bringing stuffing. And
Stuffing and yams.
yeah, Yeah, and I don't care what time of year it is. So
Guess you can keep it to yourself then.
4th of July, and here comes Jake.
Got my Independence Day stuffing right here.
Wearing his ugly sweater.
Yep.
Okay, so the ugly sweater, that reminds me. I saw this thing. This guy was like, yeah, so my boss challenged me to an ugly sweater competition at our Christmas party, and he had a sweater with a mirror on the front. And I thought,
That's a winner.
he wants to win. So
That man's serious.
yeah, I was thinking, and I don't know if you went in on the ground floor of this, but I think we're starting up a candle scent company. I don't know if we're even actually making the candles or just the smells that go in them, but so far we have pumpkin spice, box o' fish, and
Fox and fish.
and wet wool. I think is
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
going to be so.
Yeah, we've got plenty.
Yeah, I don't know if you want
You
in
need
on
to.
that,
I
but-
mean, to hit the mail market, I'd do gunpowder one. I do.
Yeah.
I do like oiled leather.
Hint of ether.
leather smell.
Mm. Yeah,
Yep. I
that'd
like
be-
them too.
Yeah.
Gunpowder and leather. Diesel.
Yeah,
Diesel would be another good candle scent.
yeah, that
Ether
one's.
with diesel exhaust. For
Yeah.
Cold starting a tractor in the shop.
But here's the thing: if I'm going to make one that sort of smells like diesel exhaust, I want it to burn black when it's over there.
Yeah.
You roll some
Get that
coal,
haze
huh?
in the house.
Yeah, ooh, whoa, somebody like they started the 4430 in here.
Exactly.
Maybe it'll puff too when you first light it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we'll make it in green, I suppose, and it'll go to 8,000 RPM before it backs itself back down. So
Then we'll have the EPA option that has a DPF on top of the candle.
yeah. Sorry,
That cost you $2,000 to replace before you can relight your candle.
I would love to light this candle, but it's regenning right
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Yeah.
And, we're out of def.
We're
so.
out of
Oh man. Okay, so yeah, something else, I guess, and probably down to a little bit of business, but we can sure have a little fun with it. One of the reasons we wanted to bring Garth in is, he is our resident expert on markets, on commodities, on, he's the guy that both of us call and go, hey, Garth, gosh, we just have this big pile of money and we don't know what to do with it. And he says, well, invest it over here or whatever.
Yeah. Give it to me. I'll take care of it for you.
Buy calves and I'll feed them for you. So, with that in mind, there is a podcast that Jared and I both listen to that we really kind of enjoy. And the guy always goes, well, not to get political. And then he gets political for like a half an hour. And so
the rest of the podcast.
So not to get political, and we try really hard not to be political on here, but we will talk about it a little bit if, it impacts what markets and that sort of thing are doing. And so what we will say is we've made it through the election now. We sort of know what direction we're headed.
Yep.
What is that? I mean, I know it's early, like we haven't even instated him yet, but
What's it mean? Is it gonna?
Yes.
It seems like to me I mean, people are wondering, gosh, should they do something before the election? I mean, what if she gets elected? What if he gets elected? I mean, policy can affect, ag commodities long term. I mean,
Sure.
there's things that can definitely have effect on it. I mean, you get a lot of pop and sizzle, I think, after an election like that. Does it really mean anything? I mean, our supply and demand channels and whatnot aren't going to change overnight because Trump got elected or if Harris got elected. I mean, when Trump was in 8 years ago, he fighting with China and sanctioned China and, what wasn't going to do any grain trade with them and whatnot. And we didn't, but what we did see like that year was other countries over there started buying soybeans from us that had never bought beans from us before. Well, they're probably just China's buying their beans through Taiwan or Vietnam or Hong
Right.
Kong or,
Now, like 30,000 foot view, historically speaking, was the last Trump presidency. It was pretty pro ag in general, though, or not really.
I don't know if I would say he was pro ag because he did what kind of needed to be done with, kind of strong arming or trying to strong arm China to level the playing field a little bit. I mean, I think he's going to be that way again with business. He is going to be more permitting, I think would be a word for it. Maybe, we get a lot of stuff getting pushed down seems like agriculture gets blamed for everything. And, we're definitely the minority, so it's a lot easier to blame the minority, I think, than take a look in the mirror. And I think with him, I don't think that's probably going to be as prevalent.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. Long term, we'll see.
I don't remember his first term, 3 years, grain prices kind of suffered because he was just unwilling to budge. And then came an election year, and all of a sudden, deals started getting made done with China.
Yep.
Grain really took back off, but I think the timing was a bit less than coincidental.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he knew he needed those moves.
Well, and I wonder
Yep.
about that a little bit. They always say timing has a lot to do with the success of a rain dance. And so,
Yep.
to pin that on a 4-year piece of time, like, well, whatever. But I didn't know if his policies were going to,
We'll see. I mean, the first one was with the sanctions and with China, probably not super ag friendly, but what he was trying to accomplish doing that, I that needed to be done. I mean,
yeah.
I think the only problem is China knows we run on 4-year terms. It's kind of easy to wait them out.
Oh, sure it is.
So,
But if they need beans, or they need commodities, there'll be some under the table stuff.
Right.
Brazil, they'll get most of their stuff as much as they can from South America. If South America stubs their toe or has a shortage or whatnot,
Yeah.
we're kind of the only shop in town, and some way, some form, they'll get it.
Right.
So
the other thing I was wondering now, the soybean crush plants. Those have kind of been going up due to a lot of the environmental restrictions. Now with, not getting Kamala in and having Trump in, are those going to still be a demand for that?
I think so. Yeah. They're building them, and there's coming online. There's more coming online, and, a few new ones in 24 and more slated for 25.
Yeah.
And, it's the oil. The oil is the value there. And, we're going to need it. We're still going to need it. And, you start talking about the plants coming online, and you kind of look at how many acres that's going to take to feed the plants. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of guys that don't really care to plant beans anymore, it seems like. And,
Right.
The old rule of thumb at 2.3 or 2.5 times the price of corn is what beans should be. And I just don't know if those are going to hold up, anymore, because what'll happen, we'll probably start exporting less, to fill the need for the
Local demand.
local. But anytime you can get local demand, that's better than exporting it. They can come and go in a year's time.
Yeah.
Like when the ethanol thing started, it started out back in the day. Every town was going to have an ethanol plant. They were going to be everywhere. And, some got built, some didn't. Some got built and sold a couple times, and but we're still using that demand, and the soybean thing, I think, is going to be with it along that lines. They're going to chew up some beans.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Man, I guess this just goes without saying. We're just a couple of dudes sitting around the table talking, and so I will throw out our friendly disclaimer here that this isn't a advice to buy, sell, trade, or otherwise any sort of recommendation.
Nope, it isn't.
To do anything with any commodity other than yams and
stuffing.
Hard, right? So, all right. So, what are you hearing just nationwide? I know harvest is kind of getting wound down, but crop wise, just in general, good, bad, otherwise.
USDA kind of shocked us here last week. Well, it wasn't a terrible shock, but the bean yield came in when they knocked 1.5 bushels off, or roughly that. That's pretty significant in soybeans. That's a big hit. People I talked to, in Nebraska and some Iowa and Missouri, beans were okay. They were decent in some areas. Some areas they just were not. They weren't good. People talking about cutting 13 beans in the morning, and the next day there's 7.
Right. Heard a lot of that,
and it was that way everywhere. and that hurts.
Yeah.
They knocked a little bit off our corn number. In my mind, if you're going to have a record smashing corn yield, I mean, a 183 or 4, whatever, 83 and a half, I mean, it's got to be good everywhere. And it wasn't.
Right.
I think, well, in the Northeast, say 25% of Nebraska, I mean, we've got some farm ground up there. I mean, it washed, it flooded, there's problems. You go around the country, and even some of the corn on August 1st, I mean, guys are saying, boy, this could get really, really good, and by October 1st, it's just, I mean, it's not bad. It's not a disaster, just very disappointed from what they thought they were going to have.
Didn't finish strong for whatever reason.
I think our weather was so hot, so dry, windy. I mean, I think it just too much, too fast at the wrong time, and it hurt the yield.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna have this record smashing corn yield of 4 bushel or 4.5 bushel, I mean, I just feel like it's got to be good everywhere.
Yeah.
And some of the guys in Iowa, I mean, they said, yeah, it was really good corn. Was it record? No, but it was right up there. Some of the best we've ever had. Well, somebody's got to have record yields, I don't know. I don't think we've got that kind of crop.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it is interesting, and, some of it can be political. Some of it can be whatever. Some of it is supply and demand, but going back just in the stuff through the store, it wasn't very long ago that we were buying $7 and $8 corn, to send back out again. And so when you start talking $4 and $5 corn, that makes the guys that are feeding, it makes that go around a little better. Obviously not good for the row crop guys, but how bizarre. So I remember being, I don't even know, junior high maybe, or whenever it was that corn went to $3 there for a while. And man, we were just talking about how like Dad couldn't believe it, and I just remember thinking like, oh man, Christmas is going to be pretty good, and now guys talking like, man, $5 corn maybe doesn't pay all the bills even anymore. And just, that hasn't been that long, right? I mean, it's probably been 25 years now, which you and I were talking before the show started. You see like a pickup or something and you think, man, that's a pretty new looking pickup. And then you realize, I don't know, it's already
18 years old.
Yeah, it's already 18, 20 years old. So, granted, that was probably 25 years ago that we're talking about. And so I guess it stands to reason that it would change. But
well, it wasn't very long ago. I mean, as far as the marketing side of things go, I've been in it. I started in 96. So I started what are we in, 24 now?
Yeah,
so
barely.
Almost 30 years. It was right after, they call it the hedge to arrive debacle. I mean, it was kind of a train wreck. And we that summer, corn went to, I don't know, $5 or something. I just could not believe it. And I can remember it was a freedom to farm. They had the freedom to farm bill.
Yeah.
And I can remember everybody talking, boy, this freedom to farm thing is
freedom
great.
to fail.
Yep. It's the greatest thing. We should have done it, years ago. And now we can do whatever we want. And New Plateau, I heard New Plateau so many times.
Couldn't stand it
back then. And it was like $2 was our plateau because we didn't get above it. And
about the only good that did was bulldozer sales.
Well, I mean, really. But then, 225, 230, you could make money on 220, 230 corn.
Yeah.
I mean, you really could. And then that, as the years go by, that kind of ratcheted up, 250, you could kind of hold things together at 250 and, and then now it's $3 corn used to be a windfall. I mean, you could, couldn't believe, $3 corn, that was crazy. And, now we're talking, like you said, $5 corn. It's like, how, how are we going to keep this up here?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I don't, and obviously I don't know what the answer is. If I did, I'd be working on a solution and not podcasting. But it is interesting, right? Because when you look at the grand scheme of, I'm going to say the Midwest on into the Eastern Corn Belt, whatever, but we're set up to row crop.
Mhm.
I mean, we have the equipment, we have the know-how figured out, we have the infrastructure to handle it, we have all that stuff. If you woke up tomorrow and said, you know what, I'm going to grow, cantaloupe because I think there's a market for that, how would you even do that here? Like, we're not even set up to do that sort of thing. And so,
How deep do you plant cantaloupe? I wouldn't even know
Well,
how deep you plant them.
an inch.
Do you?
Deep as
Yeah.
you can.
Can you drill them?
Really? Are you going to be hateful on cantaloupe now?
No, I don't need a side real conversation.
I'm going to, you know what? This guy.
Where'd you find him?
Well, I thought he was spiteful in the morning, but man, he is really bad this evening. But and I had heard somebody said one time, like, if you took really good ground, like 280 bushel corn ground, 300 bushel corn ground, and you planted that to carrots, you would crash the carrot market, at least in the short term, because it would overwhelm the market's demand for carrots. So I felt for a long time like we maybe kind of need to branch out into some other commodities, but how do you do that, and where do you go, and what commodities do you pick that we're sort of kind of set up for? And because you can't go to wheat, that's not making any money either.
Well, the thing we can do, I mean, honestly, is we're set up.
Set aside acres.
Yeah. CRP. But no, I mean, if, corn and beans is our bread and butter.
Right.
But imagine what would happen if we would grow 5% less.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't, we don't have to not plant corn or not plant beans, because that is what we're set up for. This is it.
Yeah.
But
we just need to find 5% greater demand.
well, 5% greater demand, or, do we, do you do, instead of 280, do you go 270?
Well, they do in the eastern part of the state.
Well,
You heard.
Or just, 5% in a hay crop. If everybody did.
yeah, I mean, it wouldn't take,
Yeah.
it's not like we need to abandon it,
We
but
have
I mean,
the cattle around here.
a couple percent differences would be huge.
Would make a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
And it's interesting because I think for a long,
but that's a whole nother,
well,
I mean, that's a whole nother avenue. Then
it is. And then you
But-
run into like, well, are we paying guys not to plant? Like, that sounds strangely like programs we've had in the past. And, then you end up with the government manipulating the market, and it's could turn into a whole mess. But I think we have gotten to a point in history where our ability to outgrow demand is not just a possibility; it's a real reality.
it happens all the time.
Yeah, when you were pulling a 4-row lister with a 560, nobody was worried about growing too much corn.
Nope.
But you look at all the advancements in technology that have compounded what yields can do.
We grew ourselves out of a hole just in a year's time.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
one crop, and it happens all the time.
Yep.
This is a conversation I had with Garth once. I wasn't very far. I was just getting into farming and using them, and what they taught us all through college at UNL. By the year 2050, we're going to need double our demand of food. Garth just comes back like, they're telling me that when I was in college.
yeah.
Well, now you're okay. So what's that? What are you saying? Been hearing that for 40 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. Let's.
So I'm just, that's not me. I remember that. I'm like, oh, well, I bet they probably were, but we've
Nope,
always been able to outproduce the
Yep.
demand.
I can remember that, it was by the year 2000. Oh, we're
Yep.
going to have this much. And then we got to, by, 2025, and then, 2050. And I
Yeah.
mean,
But I mean, the Weekly Reader was telling us in grade school by the year 2000, the hole in the ozone layer was going to turn us all into crispy critters,
Yeah.
and that hasn't happened. But all right, let's just address the elephant in the room. Then, what year did you graduate?
I didn't know there was one.
Well, there is.
Okay.
Well, it's a white elephant, so
Oh.
you can't see it as much because of the white walls. But what year did you graduate college then, Garth?
In 1995. So
Wow.
I am 51.
Hey,
You
right
are.
on top of the Husker program.
Hey,
Man.
it was the glory days. And you know what? You bring it up. I tell my kids, I said, I hope within your lifetime you can experience.
Right?
I bet that was a blast.
Oh,
That would.
I mean, yes, it was.
it also explains why he looks so old.
Yeah, because
Because he is.
I've lived through 30 years since 95.
So
Bad football.
So
bad
we're-
football.
Oh man, yeah, the
But
Callahan
no,
era.
it was
All right, everybody. We have been visiting with Garth Anderson of Anderson Ag Services. We've had a fantastic sit down with him. I think we are going to turn this into a 2-part episode. So for today, this is where we're going to cut it off. We invite you to come back in about a week or so to join us for part 2 of this sit down with Garth. Until then, we hope you and yours has a wonderful Thanksgiving this year, and we will see you back here in about a week. Thanks, guys.